When we solve equations using square roots, there's two different types of equations we could have. In number 1, if you notice, you only have an m squared term, and in number 2, you have an x squared term and an x term. Each one will get solved very similar, but one we will be factoring, and one we will be solving for the squared term. So if I look in number 1, I only have a squared term, so I only have m squared. I don't have a single m. So what I'm going to do is isolate that m squared. I'm going to solve for it. So I'm going to start by subtracting 7 from both sides. So it'll give me 3m squared equal to 294. I still need to get the m squared alone, so I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. And m squared is going to equal 98. So I still need to get m by itself, so we need to get rid of our exponent of 2, and to do that we have to take the square root on both sides. What the square root does is it gets rid of the exponent of 2 and it'll bring down my variable of m. Now the square root of 98, we don't want to find a decimal, we want to find the exact answer, so we're going to do our factor tree. So I need 2 factors that are going to multiply to give me 98. I know 98 is even, so I can start with 2, and 2 times 49 will give me 98. 2 cannot break down any further, but 49 can give me 7 and 7. So now I've broken down all the numbers that I can. So when we simplify, remember we want the pairs to be in the front and the singles to be on the inside. So I have a pair of 7s, so they're going to go in the front, and the single 2 will go on the inside. The last thing I need to add is a plus or minus sign in front of the 7 square roots of 2. Now in number 2, I have a squared term and I have a plain x term. So what we want to do is just think about the left side of the equation. We're going to ignore the equals 9 for right now, and we actually want to factor this left side. So we can use either the British method or the box method to factor it the whole way to the end. Now that we have factored, we end up with 2x subtract 1 and 2x subtract 1. So that's going to simplify to give us 2x subtract 1 quantity squared. So now that we have factored that left side, my squared quantity is going to equal 9. So I just bring down that right side of the problem. So like I had in number 1, I had my m squared. Here I have a whole quantity squared. So I need to get rid of that exponent of 2. So I'm going to take the square root on both sides. So it'll cancel out my exponent of 2, and it'll just drop down the 2x subtract 1. And then I'm going to take the square root of 9, and our square root of 9 is actually 3. And I need to put the plus or minus in front, because when I take the square root, I have a positive answer and a negative answer. And now I need to solve for x. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I'll have 2x equals 1 plus or minus 3. Then I'll divide by 2. My x is going to equal 1 plus or minus 3, all divided by 2.